Welcome back to Straight Facts by Dinar Investor.
Good morning and welcome back. This entire video is my opinion and should not be used for financial advice. All right, guys, there's a lot of common similarities between the Kuwait dinar and the Iraq dinar, and I wanted to go through that with you guys. First off, both of them were drafted by father and son. Okay, George Bush Sr. drafted, and he was the author of the plan of the Kuwait currency reinstatement, and George Bush Jr. was the author of the Iraq currency reinstatement. Okay, all right, so let's get started. Here's the history of the Kuwaiti dinar. Okay, historically, it's maintained a 3+ value, guys. It's that simple. Okay, let's look at the historical value of the Kuwait dinar, of the Iraq dinar. The Iraq dinar has maintained values going clear far back as 1973, near the bottom half of the article. Around 1973, it kind of shifted. In the 1970s, it shifted from 2+ to 3+. Okay, that's a very high value for those eras. Okay, so as you see, both Iraq and Kuwait have maintained 3+ values. And just so you guys know, this is a reinstatement. Many articles through time have stated they want to return the Iraq dinar to its former value. Okay, its former value was 2+, 3+, not 1+. Okay, so they need to put it either 2+ to 3 or 3+. Okay, but 3+ just makes the most sense. Okay, because that's where it was when it devalued. It devalued at 322 at the start of the war. Okay, so it would make sense for them, and you'd add a 15-year cost of living increase to them, so it would make sense for them to return it in the 3+ range. Okay, so I want to show you that both Kuwait and Iraq have maintained 2 to 3+ values. Common similarities between the rates. Let's look at the next item. Kuwait today actually is a free market economy. About 2 days ago, I just posted an article for you that Iraq is now transitioning to a market economy. Okay, so right there's more similarities. They're both becoming. They'll both end up as market economies. Okay, and then the Kuwait dinar today is currently pegged to an assortment basket such as the SDR. It's not pegged to the U.S. dollar today. Back in January of 2018, the Iraq Central Bank performed a virtual test and they virtually pegged the Iraq dinar to a currency assortment basket. Okay? So, and again, that was just last year in 18. Okay? Very close to where we stand time frame now is right now. And then at the end, guys, I just have a standard article that you've seen multiple of these where they talk about this is an older article from 2017-ish, and what they do is they talk about the deletion of the zeros and how they're going to use smaller notes to replace larger notes at an increased rate. Now, just to help clear the air on that, they have to either release the rate either before or at the same time they release the lower notes. If they release the lower notes first, it is a currency devaluation, which is what Iran's doing right now. Okay, so again, rate either comes first or at the same time as the lower denoms, or it's a currency devaluation. Okay, guys, so as you saw, there's tons of similarities between both Iraq and Kuwait. There's really no differences. They're both going down the exact same road. The difference is, though, you saw that one little section in the historical value of the Iraq dinar, okay, where kind of near the middle, it talks about how it was equal to roughly in the 280 range, and then it said by 1973, it increased value to 337 in 1973. Okay, those are very high values. So what I'm showing you guys is actually Iraq is worth significantly more money than Kuwait is. Iraq is the wealthiest country in the world, But if we scroll back up, it actually says that as of May of 2019, the Kuwait dinar was worth about 329, making it the most valuable money on earth. So back then, Kuwait's currency was the highest valued currency in the world. But as you just saw, back in 1973, Iraq was already around 337. So there you go, guys. Hope that clears up a lot of misunderstanding, and that just throws all these stupid theories that you hear from Caparoni and all these other people coming out talking about 1+ values. Ignore them, because they do not know what they're talking about. History just cleared the air for you and proves all those bizarre theories completely incorrect. You guys have a great day.
The history of the Kuwaiti dinar, historically $3 plus in 2003, the KWD was pegged to the US dollar, USD, at 0.29963 dinars to the dollar. This valuation continued until 2007, when it was formally repegged to an undisclosed basket of currencies. As of May 2019, the Kuwaiti dinar was worth about $3.29, making it the most valuable money on earth. Between 2016 and 2019, the currency was relatively stable, fluctuating between $3.27 and $3.36. The history of the Iraqi dinar, historically $3 plus, the Iraqi dinar replaced the well-established Indian rupee as the official Iraqi currency in 1932. The Iraqi dinar was pegged to the British pound, at par, until the year 1959. The peg was eventually changed to the US dollar in 1959. They used only the current exchange rate between the pound and the dollar to determine the dinar's current value. The foreign currency exchange rate determined one Iraqi dinar to be equal to $2.80. By 1973, the Iraqi dinar had increased in value to $3.3778 USD, before a small 5% devaluation correction to $3.2169 USD. This was the continually stable rate history when pegged to the US dollar until the Gulf War in 1990 to 1991. The economy in Iraq between 1960 and 1980 was vibrant and growing. The strong Iraqi dinar value was easily supported by a real GDP growth of about 8% and per capita growth of about 4.7%. These incredible growth rates supported the high Iraqi dinar exchange rate. Iraq was growing at a rate that was one of the highest in the world at that time. Iraq's long-term history is one of positive growth, global competition and excellent value for the Iraqi currency. Saddam Hussein and what he did to Iraq. Saddam Hussein became the president of Iraq on July 16, 1979. In 1980, Iraq's economy hit its absolute peak. The value of the Iraqi dinar had been strong, the economy was growing, and the treasury was overflowing with foreign exchange before Mr. Hussein took office. The beginning of the Iran-Iraq War in 1980 put an abrupt end to that. Chaos took over politically and economically. Iraq became a debtor country, instead of a creditor. The economy deteriorated. The economic embargo and the Gulf Wars crumbled the infrastructure further. The Iraqi dinar's value collapsed. Hyperinflation set in quickly. The economy worsened day by day. In the year 2000, Iraq's GDP was less than half of what it was 1980. The per capita GDP, which was $3.985 USD in 1980, plummeted to $1.097 USD in the year 2000. Most of the industrial base in Iraq had been completely destroyed. Some came under direct attack during the Iran-Iraq War and during the two Gulf Wars. Some had just been neglected so completely for so long that there was no current value in the infrastructure itself. Along with declines in GDP, hyperinflation, and the currency collapse, there was no foreign investment and a crushing debt burden. Iraq was in serious trouble. Kuwait is a market economy. Kuwait is a highly developed welfare state with a free market economy. Education is free and compulsory, and literacy is 71%. Infant mortality among Kuwaitis is the 26th of January 1000, and life expectancy is 70 years. Iraq's transitioning to market economy. Minister of Finance confirms the beginning of the transformation of economic policy to a market economy. The 29th of September 2019. Finance Minister Fawad Hussein said on Sunday that the memorandums of understanding signed by the Iraqi delegation with the Chinese side during his visit to China will be under the umbrella of oil for projects and modern technology. Hussein said, according to a statement received by his office, Al-Ahd News, a copy of it, during his participation in the Rafidane Forum for Dialogue, the work has already begun to change economic policy and transition to a market economy. Kuwait pegged to basket. While 5 of the currencies are pegged to the US dollar, the Kuwaiti dinar is pegged to a weighted basket of the currencies of Kuwait's big trading partners. The basket's composition is not disclosed, but it is believed to be dominated by the dollar, with the euro playing a significant role. February 15, 2016. Iraq simulation of basket peg. The 1st of April 2018, a simulation of the dinar exchange rate linked to the basket of currencies of Dr. Ahmed Abrihi. Introduction: the stabilization of the national currency by a basket of currencies, which is among the world's exchange rate regimes, as well as strict or flexible bilateral linkage. Therefore, it is proposed that the dinar be pegged to a basket of major currencies, international reserve currencies, dominant in foreign trade and capital markets, United States dollars. But Iraq has been used to favoring bilateral ties in its monetary history and to this day. It is no secret to the followers of the argument of bilateral linkage and dollars in particular that the source of foreign currency to Iraq is the dollar first. And secondly, the dollar is often in official international reserves and about 65% in third. Iraq's foreign trade depends on the dollar's currency, even with neighboring and Asian countries. And the fourth most countries depend on the dollar to intervene in the market exchanges called the intervention currency, and in Iraq also operates the window of the central bank in dollars, and so we call the currency of the window. However, it is necessary to interact with the currency basket proposal and to discover patterns of exchange rate movement under this system. For those interested in decision makers to consider the performance of this system and how it differs from the bilateral link, the exchange rate of the dinar linked to a basket of currencies of varying weights, in this note. A review of the exchange rate of the euro, pound sterling, yen and Swiss currency against the dollar since the beginning of 1999. Then we assumed the Iraqi dinar was pegged to a basket of currencies according to three alternatives to weights between the 1st of January 1999, the beginning of the euro, and the beginning of the 10th of 2017. The weights are, first, 65% of the dollar, 20% of the euro, and the rest of the currencies 5% each. Second, 60% for the dollar, 20% for the euro, 10% for the sterling, and 5% for the Swiss and Japanese. Third, 50% to the dollar, 25% to the euro, 10% to the pound, 5.7% to the Swiss and Japanese. The exchange rate of the dinar was then calculated according to the linkage of these currencies. For simulations, we assumed starting from the beginning of 2012, and points could be selected start again and recalculate, but this does not affect the pattern of movement up and down. It is important to state the results of the currency basket commitment and its weights in the exchange rate calculation, and within a period of time sufficient for the occurrence of cyclical changes and fluctuations in the relationship between the major currencies in the world. At the starting point on the first day of the first month for the year, the dollar was 1,200 dinars, i.e. at the moment of transition from the binary system to the basket. The exchange rates of other currencies change in dinars according to their exchange rates in dollars. The result is shown in the table at the end of this note, which shows how much the exchange rate will be in accordance with the currency basket and its stated weights. Below is pure experience with the assumption that the exchange rate of another primary is 1,700 dinars per dollar. The proposal to adopt a currency basket instead of a bilateral link means that the exchange rate of the dollar will change in dinars. According to the exchange rate of the basket currencies against the dollar, how many will be change ranges? This is what you find in the table. When pricing the euro or the pound in dinars, it depends on the exchange rates between those currencies and dollars. For example, dollars per euro are multiplied by dinars per dollar and so on, so that the dealer who turned the dinar into euros and then to the dollar recovers the amount of the dinar he used it to buy the euro when converting dollars into dinars at the same market moment. Note that the euro exchange rate with the dollar is cyclical, and generally the trend of the exchange rate of all currencies for reasons related to productivity and therefore export prices and balance of payments accordingly. Therefore, adoption of the basket does not guarantee a specific direction for the exchange rate of the dollar, or any other currency, in dinars. And when the basket is adopted, it does not require changing the exchange rate daily, but enough per week or monthly. These accounts and data presentations for clarification and knowledge of the quantitative scope of the issue under discussion. When you switch to a basket, you need to agree on currencies weights and why. The weights assumed in this note are close to the first alternative to the components of Iraq's international reserves. Relative components can be considered for foreign trade or others to propose weights. Table 1. Summary of exchange rate simulation results, JDs, when linked to a currency basket from the assumed time horizon until October 2017. Table 1. Summary of exchange rate simulation results, JDs, when linking a basket of currencies from the assumed start date until October 2017. Figure 1. Exchange rate movement between January 2005 and October 2017, simulating the peg to the basket of currencies. Reasons to delete 3 zeros from the Iraqi dinar and what it means to delete the zeros from currency. Search for dinar 3 years ago, 2017. The reasons for deleting 3 zeros from the Iraqi dinar and what it means to delete the 3 zeros from the Iraqi currency. The fact deleting 3 zeros from the Iraqi dinar, the official source at the Central Bank of Iraq, said that the beginning of 2017, will the Central Bank Iraqi deleting 3 zeros from the currency of Iraq. Finance Committee also announced in Parliament that the central bank will start at the beginning of 2017 by deleting 3 zeros from the local currency. In other words, that the unity of the coin in 1,000 dinars from the old currency will be replaced by only 1 denarius of the new currency, and so on. Going on in the minds of many Iraqis that the important question of whether to raise the zeros from the Iraqi dinar harm more benefit? Thus why do not we raise the zeros? The official source in the Iraqi central bank stressed that the purpose of deleting 3 zeros from the currency of Iraq is to lift the economy and prosperity to raise support for the dinar, which will be a key reason for the return of Iraq's economy again in January 2017. The step by Iraq intended to reform the local currency system based on the use of the currency to high denominations, which leads to difficulties in handling and in private transactions accounts, as well as high prices resulting from the use of monetary units higher categories, which leads to a decline in the currency and declining purchasing power exchange rate the dinar in a big way. Iraqi central bank chairman said that the deletion of 3 zeros from the Iraqi dinar will help in flourishing once again the Iraqi economy and the return of the Iraqi currency traded in international stock markets. The deletion of zeros restore Iraqi currency mind in periods of monetary turmoil and declining public revenues of the state at a time when the expenses increase, resort states often to print more of the local currency, leading to price hikes and the occurrence of high inflation, the need to cross categories with high currencies such as the 1,000 and 1,100,000, etc. And with every raise in the denomination as the economy enters the furnace of inflation. The aim of deleting 3 zeros from the currency of Iraq is one of the means to control the high inflation is monetary reform, coupled with a change in monetary policy by the old currency high fiat through replacement of a new currency with lower categories so prices tend to decline. But does he have on inflation? The answer is no, because the elimination of inflation is required to follow state moderate monetary policy. An official at the Central Bank of Iraq stressed that the Iraqi dinar will be the vital currency in global stock markets and the central bank is currently discussing the principles of starting the project and its laws on the beginning of the project of the year 2017 and stressed that the new currency will not have a significant impact on the major currencies, but will raise the Iraqi economy.